Hi, it's Paul here. Just a quick Tuesday update because guess what? News has happened again. Since we recorded the show last night, it's been announced that Fernando Alonso will be racing in the Le Mans 24 for the Toyota team. Not only that, but he'll also be doing as many rounds of the WEC Championship as he can. But one thing that he isn't doing is the Japanese race on October the 21st. It clashes with the US Grand Prix. So that means he'll be actually doing a full season in F1 this year. Until he gets injured again. Just thought I'd leave you with that, and now we'll start the main show. Hi, and welcome to this week's Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with
Dan.
Chris.
And Lee.
Sorry.
Wake up,
I'm
Paul.
awake. I'm on my 8th coffee of the day.
Podcasting isn't boring.
No. I'm wide awake. I've had loads of coffee today, and I'm absolutely great. And I'm really up for this podcast. And can you tell that the coffee's really kicked in?
How you feeling?
I should be tireder than I am, which is concerning. I will admit I cheated. I had a nap this afternoon.
For those who don't know what's going on, Paul did most of the 24-hour blog for the Daytona 24-hour.
It was fun.
It was hard. I found it was good fun to watch, but I watched it from the beginning for the first 2 hours, and then I lost what was going on, and then trying to come back into it a bit later on, very difficult. Like if you stop watching it for a little while and then go back to watching it, very hard to work out what's going on. In the morning, it took me about another half hour to work out where everyone was.
Yeah.
Even though they have
I was still on my sofa.
Yeah.
Where I've been all night.
And then when I was doing the live blog, it was hang on a second, I've got to make sure I get this right. And at one point, I was actually quicker than the commentators who were
Bloody useless.
yeah, actually broadcasting it.
Great.
I was like, no one else appears to have picked up the difference in the lead after the fourth period caution was less than a second because they bought the lead car in for damage repairs. Mm-hmm. And when it went out again, I thought they were going to lose a lead, but they didn't because following the safety car. It was less than a second, and it took the commentators another lap or so to pick up on the fact that this was actually the battle for the lead. Not just two cars that's just really close. They were fighting for the lead of the actual race.
You know, I managed to miss the entirety of that caution period because I was at my front door dealing with my landlady who was kicking off about planning permission for a cafe that's just opened up over the road.
Oh, God.
I would have much rather have been watching the race rather than listening to my landlady chuntering on.
Do you ever ask yourself the question, where the fuck does endurance racing get the money from?
I mean, there's a lot of fuel.
It's a lot of fuel. I'd imagine a very small niche, fan demographic.
I think it's good value, though, because you pay what you would normally pay for a race, but you're there for a whole fucking day.
But you get 12 of them effectively,
essentially,
all at once.
Yeah, but who wants that? Everyone's been at a gig where they've been watching one of their favorite bands ever, and let's say
Festival tiredness.
Yeah, but let's say it's like a classic band or something with a massive library, like a fucking
Rolling Stones. They've been around for decades.
So, by the time they've just started their third hour, you're thinking,
oh, just do Satisfaction and bugger off.
I could have just done an hour and a half of this and gone home. To be fair.
I know what you mean. Festival tiredness when you go and watch a stage for a whole day because you're desperate to see the last band on, and then 3 or 4 bands before you're thinking, I could probably go back to the tent for a sleep. now."
Reading.
Yeah.
I fucking love Pearl Jam. 10 songs too many.
So
Dan's pointing at something.
Saying move your phone, Lee.
Ah, right. Yeah, move your phone because it's purring.
it is.
Yeah.
So
Though I was trying to do it subtly, and everyone just stopped to look at what I was pointing at.
well, I thought it was something serious. So what did everyone think of what we saw of the Daytona 24-hour? Because there were a few Formula One drivers in there, most of which did very well. Some got on the podium.
Yeah, I can see 2 former Formula One drivers on the podium for the prototype class alone.
Yep.
That as with endurance racing, there is some great racing going on up and down the field.
It's difficult to know what's racing
Yeah.
and what's lapping That's
Well, there's not just that, but you got cars overtaken for position, and you've got no idea whether that's just the strategy that they're on or whether they're actually balls out racing.
and not fast enough,
And yeah,
or too fast, or it's hard to tell, isn't it?
yeah, I couldn't really get into it, to be honest.
One thing that got me, I was sick of typing the words right rear puncture.
Oh yeah, that happened a lot.
Actually, I was sick of typing the words right rear puncture by about 5 hours in. Unfortunately, there was another 19 hours of typing right rear puncture.
Most cars had the camber set a little bit aggressively, apparently.
Now then, there's been a few things about this. The prototypes and the GT Daytona class, or GT amateurs as they would be in the WEC series, they were all using Continental tyres. And Continental were very quick to issue a statement saying, these are the same tyres that we've used for the last 5 years at this event. We have given everyone the parameters of how these should be used. It's obviously teams using them outside the parameters that are causing all these punctures. And then all the Michelin started to go as well.
Right.
And it might have actually been that there was one bit of curb that was wearing away
And a bit sharp.
and bolts sticking out of it
Oh, right.
that people were running over. But I was having an email conversation with, we can say this, our man on the ground at the event.
Yes, who joined us for the live blog for some posts.
Yes, Dave Daddario.
So I want to say thank you to Dave for helping out with the live blog.
Yeah, thanks, Dave.
Yeah, until his phone battery ran out and then he had to find a charging point.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was saying we were amongst the first to actually report all these right tyre failures because nobody seemed to have a clue what was going on.
Well,
Whoa.
there you go.
Yeah.
3 legs, 4 wheels, Daytona.
With an
break.
exclusive from 3,000 miles away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite impressive, was that? So, anyone with a Formula One connection, really, that was in it. Christian Fittipaldi won the race overall.
Yes, he did.
And the prototype class in...
Not by himself.
Not by himself, with Philippe Albuquerque and João Barbosa.
Yes.
Felipe Nasser was second, or Felipe Nasser's team was second.
Well,
Indeed they were.
he'd been driving pretty well all weekend, hadn't he?
Yeah.
And he was fast in the qualifying, the pre-qualifying.
He's a good driver. When he was in F1, he was in a crap car
Yep.
with a teammate that he didn't necessarily get on with.
No.
And there was politics.
Yeah, because he was the one in the team without the money, as we all know. But no,
Well, no, he had the money, but not the control of the team.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have your money, but it doesn't count for anything.
I wouldn't be surprised if Felipe Nasser reappeared somewhere on the fringes of Formula One within the next couple of years.
Formula E.
You reckon?
I couldn't see him going back to Sauber because they pissed
No,
him
not
off
to
and
Sauber.
and they managed to piss his sponsors off.
It depends, doesn't it? Though, doesn't it? I mean, you've got a new manager in.
True.
It's that hook up with Ferrari and Alfa Romeo.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it's probably only a matter of time now if Ferrari have got involved with them and stuck Alfa on the side of it, given how many the fact that Sauber's been sold before, it's probably only a matter of time before it becomes Alfa Romeo.
Yeah.
Given the number of times it's been sold before, it's only a matter of time before it comes 3 legs, 4 wheels racing for a fortnight.
Careful what you wish for.
Couldn't happen. Patrons, do your thing. Paul di Resta came forth in his team with Bruno Senna.
Yes, Paul di Resta and Bruno Senna were in the same car.
Yeah, they were. It was the other United Autosports entry,
Yes, along with
which
the...
I didn't know until Saturday. United Autosports are based in Leeds.
Are they?
Yeah, their base is actually 15 miles away from where I was born.
Well, there you go. Oh, that's something special.
Yeah, thank you to Red Bennett, who, when I said bloody hell, United Autosports are from where I was born, he said I didn't know they had motor racing in the Shire.
That's good.
It's the Yorkshire.
Yes, it is. It is the Yorkshire. But yeah, I mean, a good showing from some ex and also current Formula One drivers. During the wet period overnight, the commentators appear to be very impressed with Lando Norris's performance.
He was gaining probably about a second, up to 2 seconds a lap on cars ahead of him.
Yeah.
Absolutely storming performance in a type of car that he's obviously not familiar with.
But comfortable in.
But seemed to be very comfortable.
So star of last week's podcast.
He did LMP2 though, didn't he? Last year and something.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was FIA European Formula 3 champion.
No,
last
he
year.
did something in LMP2 as well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
No, you may well have done. But yeah, he.
I remember him mentioning it during the interview.
Yeah, was that not just a test?
I'm not sure.
Well, of course, the
Possibly.
Daytona is LMP2 cars.
Sort of.
Sort
Sort
of.
of.
Very similar. Very similar to the LMP2 cars. I do actually. Now you said that, I do actually remember him saying something about the getting used to the car
roof.
Yeah, because he'd already driven a car with a roof. So you're quite right. I'm sure he mentioned that in the interview, which you can go back and listen to on
Now.
our website. Yeah, go back and listen to it now. No, but not right now because we're talking to you.
No, they've already downloaded it. We've already won.
What if they're streaming it on the website?
What percentage do they have to get to?
75.
Just leave it running in the background and then go and listen on a different device.
Yeah. Listen to it on your Amazon Echo. There you go.
Yeah.
Another Formula One connection in fifth, kind of. Alex Brundle.
Yeah, Martin Brundle's son, who failed to make it to Formula One, despite trying very hard. He got to GP3, didn't he, Alex
I think
Brundle?
that was about as far as he got, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he made GP2. But yeah, I mean,
Oh, no,
obviously,
let's have a look. FIA Formula 2 Championship 2009. It was that Formula 2 that wasn't as good as GP2.
oh right, okay, yeah,
The one that wasn't really particularly very good.
yeah. Well, Martin Brundle holds the record for most laps led without having actually won a race in Formula One.
Does he really? Well done, Martin.
Yeah,
And of course, can't mention that particular Jackie Chan car, number 78, owned by the Jackie Chan,
yeah.
without mentioning, prepare for this one of their drivers' full names. Ferdinand, Zvonimir, Maria, Balthus, Keith, Michael, Otto, Artel, Banham, Leonard von Habsburg.
That's what happens when you and your missus can't decide on which members of which parts of your family you're going to name your child after.
So they named him after the band
All of
Kansas.
He's part of the Austrian royal family.
Fair enough.
Sorry, the Austrian imperial family.
Fair enough.
It sounds like a European Osmonds.
Well, like the Sound of Music. So no,
Wasn't,
all in all,
wasn't Lance Stroll in the Jackie Chan car?
He was in the other Jackie Chan car.
How did he get on?
How did he get on? He was 15th overall.
I can only stress that if someone was to walk in, hear half of this conversation, how racist that sounds.
I mean, this other car appears to be Lance Stroll and there was only two Formula E drivers in there. Felix Rosenqvist and Robin Frins
yes.
from off of Formula E were in that car. They finished 3 places behind Sebastian Bourdais.
That's not a bad showing, really.
We got Montoya in 10th.
Yep. He was the fastest driver for some hours as well.
Yes, he
yeah.
was. Again, car trouble.
He I don't think he finished with the fastest lap of the race, but he had the fastest lap for quite a long time.
Still a handy boy, Juan Pablo, isn't he?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
He is. He's looking at possibly getting a drive for Le Mans this year.
That might be fun.
Yeah, seeing as he's won Monaco,
Yep.
won the Indy 500. Fernando sat there going, "You don't want to do it, mate. Not worth it."
There was a really good interview with Juan Pablo when someone mentioned that to him, and he turned around and said, "I'd never really thought about it before." He said, "Yeah, it would be nice to, but I don't know. I don't know if I'll do it."
But yeah, apparently he's giving Le Mans some serious consideration this year.
Just to fuck off Alonso.
Very possibly.
Yeah, Alonso's got 2 things that Montoya never had.
Oh, wouldn't that be? Isn't that a shame that Alonso didn't win the Indy 500 last
Hang
year?
on. Alonso's got 2 things that Montoya never had, but Montoya's had 1 thing that Alonso's never had. A chance in a McLaren.
Well, yet. Which brings us on nicely to the next news item.
I was just about to mention F1 failure Jean-Maria Bruni. No points for Minardi and 17th in this race. But we haven't got to the car that, let's face it, everyone around this table was paying attention to.
Max Chilton.
That's the one. Now, the
Car number 23.
car number 23 from United Autosports team, Hando Nando Lando.
Hando.
Phil Hansen.
Yeah, Hando, Lando, Nando. If only they put that on the side of the car.
It would have been great. It was looking good. Lando, as we said earlier, he was definitely showing a lot of promise. Phil Hansen looks like a decent driver as well for someone.
How old's he?
He's about 19.
Is he?
Yeah. He's another young one. I think him and Lando's ages between them add up to just a little bit more than Fernando's.
What's he been doing? Has he just been doing
because
sports car racing, or has he been doing single seater?
I have to be honest, up until the announcement that Fernando and Lando were going to be doing the Rolex Daytona 24.
Never heard of the third wheel.
Never heard. I called him Phil Hardman or something on a podcast a few weeks ago. I was like, who is this guy? Like, I never even heard of him.
Yeah.
But no, appears to be a very good driver. Both Fernando Alonso and Lando Norris led the race a couple of different times, thanks to pit stops and driver changes and things and shenanigans. But I think it was about 4 hours in, was it, when Fernando Alonso was leading? And then about a couple of hours later when they did a driver change, and it just happened to lock in with other driver changes, that Lando Norris actually led the race for a very short amount of time before he swapped out for Phil Hansen.
What Phil Hansen has been doing is the Asian Le Mans series in the LMP3 cars.
So he's used to driving these sorts of endurance races.
The endurance cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the only reason I wanted to know that is because with us being a Formula One podcast, rarely do people get to Formula One through doing sports car racing first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look, again, going back to Martin Brundle, 1990 sports car GT world champion. Left Formula One for a year and won a world championship, came back to Formula One.
That's how it feels to win.
Yeah. then came back to join Benetton and still didn't win.
It's funny when you read the list of achievements Brundle's had through his career. It's weird how you get some drivers which are clearly amazing drivers, and Formula One just does not work out for them.
Like he was racing Senna quite competitively in Formula 3,
Yeah.
British Formula 3. He
Must
was
watch that documentary at some point. It's been on my Skybox for about 2 years now.
about the 83 Formula 3 season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a book on it.
And at one point, there was a battle between Alex Brundle and Bruno Senna, and somebody pointed out, "Oh, didn't know Twitter was around in 1983."
Yeah,
you
good
just saw
point.
the surnames. But yeah, it was a decent showing for that United Autosports team. Just car problems.
Which again, we all had our eyes on being Formula One fans.
Yeah.
Car troubles. They stopped for quite a lengthy
There was
time. Didn't
two
they?
really long stops. One to replace the brakes, and then another one towards the end, and they came back out with about 10 minutes left.
They ended up 90 laps down, didn't
Yeah.
they? 9-0.
I was just going to say, didn't I see one of the stops like half an hour or something like that?
There was a 30-minute and a 40-minute.
Whoa.
Yeah, 30-minute one was for the brakes, and the 40-minute one was for what was that for?
That was just to cool Fernando down.
I think that was possibly another brake issue.
Was it really?
They had the entire front end off the car. They still beat the car that didn't manage to start the race because it crashed on the parade lap.
Yep. And
And as we christened it on Saturday night, the fire car.
yeah, the one that caught fire. Catherine Legg, by the way, special mention for Catherine Legg for driving, for getting punted off the track, essentially. Driving through that...
By Montoya.
Yeah, by Montoya. Driving through that sponsors board and not lifting off at all whatsoever. There were sandbags behind it and everything. That's what caused that caution in the end, because there was just too much stuff floating around in the wind. But the onboard replay showed her going through the sponsor's board, doesn't even lift. No throttle lift whatsoever. I'm pinned.
Lee, in wrestling terms, she got hit with a polystyrene and just didn't sell the move at all. But no, it was a fun weekend. Not something I'd do every weekend.
No. Absolutely not.
I have to admit, by 5 o'clock on Sunday morning, I was starting to hallucinate, and I was convinced that everything smelled of lemons.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I think I need to get more sleep of a night. Not, at my age.
Or use less pledge.
Oh, that might be an idea.
You see, now, before we move on to our next news item, Fernando Alonso has actually said that it scared him a little bit. Actually, the actual racing part of it. being reported on Autosport and a couple of other websites.
Was
as
it?
well.
Didn't he say it was scary when his brakes failed? Yeah, it's
Which, you can.
That's
You
acceptable.
can believe that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not.
I think for any driver, racing or otherwise, a brake failure is going to be pretty bloody terrifying.
Hence why we always hear Roman Grosjean on the radio go, "My brakes, my brakes! Help! I'm driving a house, so my brakes might not work."
well, that's what happens when you stick a chef in a Formula One car.
It is, yeah.
Though the Formula One cars,
Yeah,
they have
chefs-
an awful lot of engine braking, don't they? So I guess he's even
Especially
with
in the hybrid era now.
yeah. So I guess the LMP ones might handle, LMP2s might handle a bit differently when the brakes go compared to a Formula
just,
One car.
Just thinking there, but when drivers are told just to lift and coast because the aero does such a good job of slowing
Yeah,
the car
they
down
get
as
something
well.
like 2-gear braking, don't they?
Yeah.
Just by getting off the throttle.
Yeah, I mean, this is why Alonso might find driving an LMP1 if he does Le Mans a bit more sort of closer to the day job because they're on hybrids as well, so we can use the same kind of engine braking that he's been using.
And he was praised for fuel saving, I believe.
Yes, although not as
It's
much.
just natural now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
although not as much as Helio Castroneves, who actually managed to stretch one stint out by 7 laps through lifting and coasting.
Wow.
And what's it? Nearly 2 miles a lap.
It was nearly 3 miles a lap.
Nearly 3 miles a lap because he used the infield bit.
Yeah. I think it was an average stint for the prototypes was 30 laps, and he got 37 out of one full tank of fuel.
Jesus.
So that's nearly a third fuel efficiency.
Yeah. Wow.
Bearing in mind he comes from IndyCar, which is basically get in the car, plant your foot as hard as you can, and then come in for more fuel when you start to get warnings.
Yeah.
That's pretty. That's
Yeah.
pretty impressive turnaround the way
There's
that he's done.
21 extra miles of running.
That. Yeah,
Well done, Helio Castroneves.
and he still won.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just looking about the thing with Alonso saying that he was scared, but it was. You arrive at the first corner and you're 310 kilometers an hour. Then you hit the brakes and there are no brakes.
Yeah, that is scary.
Luckily, you have a shortcut. The grass was getting a lot of use during that race. Lines were optional, shall we say?
There were a few. There were a few offs and some good recoveries as well, but nothing will beat the Acura catching fire.
Yeah.
And
Although-
Catherine driving straight through that sponsor's board.
We've got some photos that Dave sent that went up on the blog as he was sending them. But what I'll do is I'll download all those along with some others that he sent and that Nick Patakas sent to us as well. Thank you very much to
Yes.
Oslo Greek.
Absolutely.
And
Thank you, Nick.
I'll do a little bit of a photo gallery on the website so you can actually see sort of close up what was going on. Moving on,
Fernando Alonso.
McLaren,
So,
the United Autosports McLaren team.
no, not that.
Fernando.
The actual McLaren team.
The actual McLaren. The at the moment black and orange, but soon could be all orange. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah, it's looking the livery things that people are. Sorry, I'm playing with the tape. I'll just put that down. It's looking like the
We haven't recorded on tape for years. We're all
no,
digital
exactly. We are, but the livery teasers that teams start teasing things. I remember last year McLaren were teasing orange with a bit of black, and then the car was black and orange.
Well, to be fair, last year they were teasing white and red quite a lot,
Well,
weren't they?
it was the year before, I think.
Was it the year
yeah,
before?
But then it was just like it's black.
Yeah, last year was the black and orange fiery crackle
That was it.
walls.
Yeah.
It was red and white.
They look like
Red and white
every
2016.
picture looked like something was from a gaming PC.
Yeah.
Now, everything that McLaren are hinting at, saying, "Oh, come and look at our car launch. Our car launch. Don't forget the date of the car launch." I mean, okay, it is still all in orange, sort of, lending itself to being a similar livery. But are they going full orange?
The rumours are that they're going to be the
have
full
sponsors.
papaya colour that's basically what Alonso's car in Indy was.
Yeah, they have sponsors apparently. Zach Brown has,
Done his job.
yeah, because he said he would get sponsors in for 2018. So we'll see what appears on that McLaren car when the livery is released.
I reckon there'll be a Renault logo.
I don't think there will be. I think you'll have I think it'll be McLaren.
There'll be a little Renault diamond on the nose cone because all Renault running cars usually have that.
I think you'll just see the word Renault very, very, very small I think I mentioned this on a previous podcast. Rather than being McLaren Honda like it was, I don't think you'll see McLaren Renault anywhere.
No,
It'd be McLaren and then it's small and powered by Renault.
Now I have something on this. Last weekend, I forgot to mention it on last week's show. Actually, one of McLaren's merchandise partners published a photo of the new McLaren team bags that they were issuing to the team, and you can pre-order them on their website. The McLaren luggage collection.
Yeah.
£300 for a carry-on bag.
Good lord.
Fuck it.
And they just say McLaren on. There is no other logos because all of the last few years, McLaren gear
It's been McLaren
been
Honda.
McLaren Honda. This year's the first sort of sponsor items that I've seen just have the McLaren logo on.
Well, I
Yeah.
noticed the other day that when we were in McLaren that the T-shirts Lando had on were new. They weren't last year's shirts.
No,
Yeah.
they
And
just
that
said
was
McLaren.
Just McLaren.
Yeah.
And there's been pictures of other ones as well, which was just white as well. So it could be the fact that it might just be white and black.
Yeah, maybe. But
Yeah,
the team
if
wear
that's
is
what the
usually
team
white
wear.
and black, isn't it?
Yeah.
But again, that's Honda racing colours. So maybe they'll do away with that altogether.
True.
Maybe the papaya and black was the papaya for McLaren, the black for the white and black of the Honda is traditional racing.
I
do it
thought
properly.
Honda had red in their racing colours.
They used to, and they went black and white some years.
I think
before.
they were just there was red on it just because of like the Japanese, aren't they? But white is Honda's racing colours, isn't it?
I think so.
Oh.
Usually with Honda written on in black
Yeah.
rather than red. But yeah, so lots of teasing of McLaren liveries, but teasing results more than liveries. Alonso says that the team are very confident of scoring a podium for the first time since 2014. Now that's brave coming from a driver. I mean, I said Stoffel was brave on last week's podcast. I was saying there's some big pressure on McLaren. It looks like Alonso's not necessarily piled the pressure on, but he's adding to it by
Is it not doing anything to relieve it.
no,
I'll-
yeah, exactly.
I'll
Not
be
doing anything
surprised.
to relieve it.
If they don't score a podium.
Yeah, but if we were saying before that we start recording, if that car is capable of a podium, Alonso will put it there.
If that car's capable of a podium, Alonso will win a race.
Well, yeah, he. Yeah.
I was watching an interview with the commentator David Croft today because Sky announced which races they've got exclusive rights to.
Or will that be all of them?
Well,
No, it's not quite all of
No,
them.
Sky got exclusively 11 races. They're showing all 21, but exclusively 11.
Right.
Because 10 of them are shared with Channel 4 in the UK.
Okay.
David Croft was basically saying he thinks McLaren are nailed on certainty to get podiums this season.
I hope so.
Nailed on certainty. That's brave.
It would be a good story for Formula One, I think, if McLaren were back up the grid and not making themselves look silly.
Yeah, I would be surprised. I wouldn't go as far as a certainty. They're going to be Force India level, aren't they?
I think
Realistically.
I think they might be Red Bull, and depending where Ferrari are, they might be with Ferrari.
See, this is the thing, and again, not to spoil my
This all depending on whether the Ferrari's a beast or a dog,
Yeah.
in Marchionne's terms.
Yeah,
a monster or garbage. I think
Is
is
it
the
monster
word.
or garbage?
Yeah.
I've heard that many.
Yeah. But Mercedes and Ferrari are likely to be the two teams that are out in front, aren't we? Aren't they?
Yeah.
Behind that, you don't really know.
no.
All the way back to the very back, it could be the team at the back could be the new Alfa Romeo Sauber team. It could be Haas.
It could be Force India.
Could be Force India. It
Yeah.
could be Renault. Could be Williams. No one actually knows.
It's more likely to be Toro Rosso if the Honda engine carries on.
It's more likely to be Toro Rosso, flanked by Sauber still, I think.
and I wouldn't actually mind betting that Haas might fall back a little bit as well.
Although if Sauber do beat Toro Rosso this year, you will be able to hear Fred Vasseur laughing and shouting, "I told you so," from anywhere on this planet.
Well, yeah, because it emerged this week, didn't it, that Fred Vasseur was cancelled his Honda contract? Well, cancelled Sauber's Honda contract within an hour of him taking charge of the...
Yeah, here's your desk. This is your log on. This is where the toilets are. Why are you asking for Honda's phone number already?
Yeah. Yeah, here's a list of all the phone numbers. Oh, you're just checking to see if speed dial works. You've cancelled the contract.
Did you know it's 9 for an outside? Okay, you obviously did.
Yeah. He worked that one out by himself.
That is amazingly quick to make that decision.
He clearly already made it before he accepted the job.
Well,
Yeah.
see, the way I read that interview with him, I think he was more saying that was the first job I had to do when I joined the team, as in the decision was already made before he came in.
Ah,
But
right.
it was a difficult day because I had to cancel the Honda deal on my first day.
Yeah. Welcome. Your first job, Fred. That phone. Here's Mr. Hasegawa's number, where whoever's in charge of Honda these days.
Yeah.
Here's Mr. Hasegawa's number. Call him and tell him we don't want your engines. Good luck. Yeah. So
That would kind of hint at why their previous CEO was fired.
For getting the Honda deal in the first place.
Yeah.
I think that was possibly the tip of the iceberg.
yeah.
I can't see.
See, prudence is a great thing, especially when you're a Formula One team with not very much money. However, that's way too prudent. Give me all your engines for free, and we will save all this money. However, we won't make any money because we'll never be anywhere near the point.
Well, it depends, doesn't it? Because if that deal came with the 100 million that McLaren was getting as well, then I personally,
I don't think it would have come anywhere. There'd have been money. There'd have been a financial consideration along with taking the engines. But I don't think it would have been anywhere close to the 100 million because that's more than Sauber's annual budget.
I really don't think Honda are going to stay crap.
no, I did then not forever. Certainly
Yeah.
not forever.
So at some point, it would have turned from being a bad decision that kept them up the back to a great decision that got them a bargain engine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think another reason that he used for justifying it was Sauber get their gearboxes from McLaren, not from the backs of McLaren.
I was just like, old McLarens.
But yes, Sauber get the gearbox
this
from
is
McLaren.
a genuine Senna race-used gearbox, and I'm just going to bolt it to Marcus Ericsson's car.
And
Now
basically,
get on eBay and find me another one.
yeah, basically, he said that given the performance of the Honda engine with the McLaren gearbox, they'd go backwards.
Fair enough.
And going backwards from where they were would be like minus points.
Yes, essentially, yeah. But it appears that
But it was already on the cards because his quote was, I joined on the 17th of July at 9 a.m. and the meeting with Honda was at 10 a.m. Now, I think that meeting will have been already set up because it would take slightly longer than an hour to fly Honda delegates into Switzerland from Japan.
maybe they were on the way
Just to
say,
get the
"Come and meet-
reply on your Outlook.
Yeah.
Come and meet our new CEO. He starts on the 17th at 9
He's got
a.m.
something to tell you.
Yeah, he starts the 17th at 9 a.m. So if you guys turn up at 10, it'd be a great opportunity for you to meet him. We're looking forward to that. Yeah, you're out. Get out.
CEO, see you later.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean that whole we're calling it the midfield, but we don't know if it's going to be the midfield tail end. We don't know where anyone's going to be. But McLaren look like they're going to be up towards the sharper end. If we're to believe everything that McLaren have told us over the last 3 years, that their chassis is brilliant, but the engine was terrible.
It does point that way.
It does, and we said last week as well about the circuits where McLaren have been strong are circuits where engines don't really matter. It's more to do with chassis.
Well, apparently, Chuck D is now not invited to any McLaren meeting whatsoever, so you can believe the hype.
You can believe the hype. He's a prophet of rage these days.
I thought that was quite good.
Yeah. Well, I think everything's quite quiet now. Just a quick crossover from McLaren, just while we're on it, so people know. I recorded a new Musty Audio this week, and me and Martin had a little conversation about our trip to McLaren. So there's a little crossover there. So some of the others might, some listeners might want to go and listen to Musty Audio this week because there's a Formula One interest.
There you go.
Does this mean that I've got to listen to it and just fact check it and pass it through the lawyers and everything?
You can do if you want.
Yeah, go on then. Might as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got nothing better to do.
By passing it through lawyers, you mean passing it through our accountant?
No, because at the moment he's too busy rebuilding his TV.
Right. You fill me with confidence.
We need a new we need a new lawyer now, Rubenstead.
Podcat advocate.
Podcast advocate.
I was about to do a
We're
really
going to do a swearing in ceremony for New Cat then.
I was about to do a sort of segue on this because you're saying that McLaren could be good, and normally we'd find out during testing.
Yeah.
But this year in the Barcelona test, we're not going to have a bloody clue.
No, Pirelli have put out a statement that's basically the Circuit de Catalunya is having improvements made to it.
No, it's having a complete 100% resurface. Pirelli put out a statement where,
Well-
if you read between the lines, it says it's all MotoGP's fault. It's nothing to do with
Oh,
us.
is it the whole circuit? that's
The
been
whole
used?
circuit is
Oh,
being
right,
resurfaced.
wow.
No, it's not just turn 13 being reprofiled.
Yeah.
MotoGP have asked for the entire circuit to be resurfaced.
Yeah, but the Turn 13 reprofiling has involved some of the stands being moved and a huge runoff area being put there instead of what I think is at the moment grass and then gravel. So there's going to be a massive runoff area from it's hard to describe unless you know the layout of the circuit, but from like the hairpin right near the top of the circuit, basically down towards the main straight. There's now that all of that's going to be a runoff area, which to me is a bit silly.
Yeah.
But this is all being done at the behest of MotoGP, as Paul just said. We need to resurface the track because it's not up to MotoGP standards, blah, 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 blah. But Pirelli is saying, well, hang on a second, you're resurfacing this circuit during the winter, so it won't have time, the tarmac won't have time to bed in properly before you put Formula One cars on it.
Yeah.
That's going to be a very green track, and we don't
But doesn't
know.
it take something like over a year or 2 years for it even to cure properly?
Something like that.
So I'm sure.
Because the oils at Austin were a problem, weren't they,
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
first 2 years?
Yeah.
But the it's going to be the greenest of green tracks by the time Formula One gets testing to it. And Pirelli have said, look, we might not be able to provide the data that you want. And if your tyres, which let's be honest, never forget this, the only thing that ever comes into contact or should come into contact with the Formula One car and the road is the tyres.
And sometimes Alonso's bottom lip.
Sometimes, if he's feeling really sad.
And also the titanium under the cars to make the sparks, which look fantastic under the night rates.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, the titanium blocks.
I missed the sawdust.
Then, if you can't
Still
get
get to see that Silverstone because bits of it was bumpy as hell on the older sections.
if you can't get the tyres right or the data from the tyres right, it could throw out the whole data for everything else that you're trying to read from the back of your
Well,
car. So
that's
testing could be, and pre-season testing this year could be entirely pointless. And again, we won't know anything until we get to Melbourne.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to speak to somebody that really knows what's going on with this sort of stuff because you've got to think that.
That's supposed to be us.
Well, kind of, isn't it? But there's people that know.
We
more
can
than us.
speculate.
Like let's say
We can make educated guesses.
Let's say somebody like fucking. Why have all the Formula One names gone out of my head?
Paul Hembry from Pirelli.
That'll do.
Herman Tilke.
Yes. Well, no, we've seen his circuits. He clearly doesn't know anything about Formula One. No, but like what I mean is, every year they go to Spain, test, pretty much know whereabouts things are because they go there every single year.
Yeah.
Does this throw out like all the sim work and stuff they've done so far? Because if they go to the circuit and the data they've got doesn't correlate with the sim, does that mean it's the sim's fault or is it the new tarmac's fault?
I think what we'll get is more talk about correlation problems, like Mercedes had at the start of the year
Exactly.
last
Red Bull.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the track data that they'll have in the sim won't actually have any relation to
the track.
track, because they will have to because the sims are that advanced that they map every square centimetre of the surface, so you can even tell where there's a slight bump.
So would they be allowed to run a 2017 car or something like that so that they can help get some idea of...
I
2
don't
years, isn't it? Isn't it 2 years back? You've got
No,
to-
I-
Three that they'd only be able to run a 2015 car.
No, I don't think you. Because remember, Force India turned up to a test 2 years ago with last year's car.
Yeah, but the regulations have changed.
Right. Okay.
The regulations have changed because Force India turned up to a test with an old car
Right. Okay.
because it wasn't the car that they were planning to run that season.
Yeah,
That's why they've now changed the
I
rules.
remember that.
And you teams can only run a car that's over 3 years old.
So you'd have to run a 2015 car.
Yeah,
There'd be no point in that.
No.
And because I mean, realistically, even if they're not getting the data they want,
That's before the new aero rules came in.
But the reason Force India ran an old car is because they didn't have a new car ready.
Yeah.
You're always going to be better running your new car because even if you learn nothing else, you learn it won't blow up. You know. But I've often thought, like, especially with Spain, be it somewhere that we test at so often, and then we go there, and I always kind of. I always enjoy Spain a little bit less because the teams have got everything nailed down so much.
Because because effectively they've had unlimited free practice before the season starts.
I've always thought that Formula One would be better served if testing was done on a non-championship race circuit,
Yeah, I can see your point on that.
or even if you did it like you did, say you did it in Catalonia, right? You do it in Catalonia, but we reversed the track.
Don't think
that.
Don't think that'd be possible because I think
Because of the way the marshal stations are set up and the
way
barriers.
the way
Yeah,
the co-
you need
the way the
you need
corners are set
left-handed
up.
tarmac.
Well, don't forget most circuits are raced on both directions, aren't they?
Um,
Not with Formula One cars.
not in Formula One cars because I don't think they're set up for that speed the other
Yeah.
way around.
Well, like before, because we've got Paul Ricard, haven't we? Is that what the French Grand Prix is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, that would have been ideal. You know, you just that's where you go to test.
Well, Jerez would be excuse me, Jerez would be a good idea because up until recently they did use Jerez as a testing. circuit.
It was used recently, and now the fastest things that run on there are MotoGP and F2.
I wonder if
Yeah.
that fixes Formula One again, as far as the cost of testing.
Oh, we've got to fix Formula One in a little bit.
I know, yeah.
Save all your fixings.
But no, you're right. So we don't test now because it costs so much money to do all the stuff, yeah? So what about a semi-permanent Formula One test circuit, which is the only place where you test Formula One cars? So all the teams could have like facilities and stuff, temporary facilities there all the time anyway. Surely that would cut down the cost of testing.
I think simulation is cheaper than actually
Oh, of course,
running a
yeah,
car.
of course it's cheaper, but it's never going to be as good, is it?
Talking of cutting the cost, I didn't actually know this until a couple of days ago. That you're only allowed a certain amount of time in the wind tunnel, which gets lowered if you use more processing power on CFD.
Oh yeah, I knew that.
I knew that CFD power was limited. I didn't know that you could balance between the two.
Yeah, apparently you have to. If you use more CFD, you've got to use less wind tunnel.
So yeah, what would you go with? CFD, for those who don't know, computational fluid dynamics.
That's the one.
They're the ones that you can model a wind tunnel and see how air might pass over it, or you can put it in a wind tunnel and see how air actually passes over it.
Now I've got the idea. When you think of the
Do you trust the technology or what's in front of your eyes? That's the thing.
Yeah, but when you think about the processing power that the Formula One sims must have, like in the technology center or something like that, I do like it now that maybe Dodgy Dave goes in at like 12 o'clock at night and starts mining Bitcoin.
I'm a million, thousand, million, 10,000, mil.
Don't know what I am anymore.
I've got Bitcoin.
I'm so rich I can buy a Formula One team. It's Sauber.
And so one day, if you mine enough Bitcoin, you might be able to afford to buy a graphics card now.
Yeah. Hello, Mum. Hi. Yeah. No, it's fine. I was going to call you to tell you that I was a millionaire, but by the time you've answered your phone, I've got a tenner.
I've got this really should have been on the Patreon podcast, but I've got an interesting, funny Bitcoin story. There's a lady over here that works in a cafe. I'm not going to say which cafe because she might not want people to know. But I don't know what she was buying.
Well, if she doesn't want people to know she works in a cafe, she shouldn't actually be there in a cafe serving people.
No, okay. Well, maybe not the fucking majority of strangers. But the
It's the one with the sign on the door saying we serve friends only.
years and years and years ago, when cryptocurrency first started becoming a thing, she had to buy something with Bitcoin.
Right.
I'm not going to ask what she had to buy with Bitcoin because it all sounds...
She had to buy something with Bitcoin?
Yes. Yeah.
That sounds weird straight away.
But-
Okay.
so anyway.
Possibly that 50 Cent album that he made available to buy with Bitcoin, and then he found out last week he's got an extra $8 million.
Now, I don't know because I haven't got a Bitcoin account, so I don't know how it works. But I take it, with it all being like an encrypted thing, it's probably the encryption quite heavy on your account side, to get into your account.
In theory, yes.
Right. Well, what she did was she had money left over when she did her buying, so she has 2 whole Bitcoins, and she can't remember the login or the password for her account.
Ooh.
Is that about 30 grand?
It depends
possibly less
when
than-
you're listening to this podcast. It
a
has.
number.
It has been £30,000.
But I tell you what, it's probably more than it's probably a lot more than the 20 quid it probably cost her to buy them in the first place.
Thing is, if she had to buy Bitcoin, then it could be one of these crypto locker viruses that encrypted everything on your computer. And the
you
only way
can't
you
get
could
it.
get it decrypted was by sending Bitcoin to someone.
Yeah. Or maybe she just didn't want a boyfriend around anymore.
Possibly.
Patreon podcast.
You answered that very knowingly, Dan. What do you know about wiping people out?
Very little.
Anyway,
Off the record.
Almost nothing.
back to the
But
subject in
I've been
hand.
taking lessons from Lee, which you can hear about on the Patreon pod.
Yes.
Oh yeah, if anyone wants to kill someone, I basically give a step-by-step guide.
Well, it wasn't a step guide to the killing. It was the bits after.
Well, that's
It was
it's-
more a psychological insight into the mind.
Paul. The devil is in the detail.
No, the devil was in the Cliff Richard conversation.
Back to the subject in hand.
But if you want to listen to the Patreon show, it's patreon.com/3legs4wheels. Back to the subject in hand, which is Catalonia. The other thing that's thrown randomness into the mix is, of course, new tyre compounds.
Yeah, because the teams have had very little running with them. 2018 tyres. Ferrari had a little bit of a run, if I remember rightly. Mercedes and Red Bull.
Well, in IT terms, they had a test of what could be called a release candidate.
Yeah, they haven't been beta tested yet, have they? Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
they were only the test that they were using at the Pirelli tyre test in Abu Dhabi at the end of last season were only possibilities for what the final compounds might be. So the teams don't actually know if they've run on the real tyres or not, and Pirelli may have changed the makeup of the compounds.
Just like a control experiment.
Yeah. So it could be that none of the tyres have actually been put on a Formula One car running at full speed. All we know about the tyres is they're going to be 2 steps softer than the 2017 tyres.
I'd almost guarantee that they haven't been running on a Formula One car, at full speed, full racing speed.
Well, they would have been running at full speed in the Pirelli test, but whether they were the final versions of the tyres or not, no one knows.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still there. You talk about you talk about this last year's car too. So there must be always question marks when you bring new tyres.
Yeah, so what you mean, yeah. So we say we're going to know. We usually find some things out in testing. We'll know what all the cars look like.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which leads us nicely on to launch dates.
Yes, we've got 2 new launch dates been put up. Was it today they put them up?
Yes,
Which is amazing. Kind of semi F1 news almost on a Monday. Alfa Romeo Sauber have announced for, is it the 22nd?
The 20th of
20th,
February.
sorry. 20th of Feb.
Yeah.
And
can I put this forward now that from now on we just refer to them as Sauber Romeo?
Sauber Romeo. It's good call, I think. And Williams as well. Although we're dubiously skeptical.
Yeah, Williams have said that it's going to be the 19th of February.
So they're going to launch first.
They launched first last year as well, didn't
Sorry,
they?
the 15th, according to Autosport.
15th of Feb.
Yeah. But they said they were going to launch first. We didn't actually see the car.
Oh, we're going to see a lot of renders.
Yeah.
Any car that launches before the test
Is a render.
Is a render, or is just an airbrushed car.
See, now I think that should be
last year's car painted.
Yeah, I think that should be against the rules. I think what should actually happen is the 2 drivers pull the sheet back off the 2018 car, not the 2017 car with an 18 livery on it or anything like that. And there you go. There's your 2018
Well,
car.
the Mercedes one on February the 22nd
It's exactly that.
is at Silverstone,
Yeah.
and they are using that day as a filming day as well.
Yeah.
So it has to be the 2018
It
car.
has to be the same color.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be the right car.
I think it will be because they did actually launch the real car last year. Ferrari are doing the same at Maranello
Yeah.
On the same day,
on the same day. Got the press release from Mercedes announcing the launch, and they said, yes, we know it's the same day as Ferrari, but we'll be taking a break while they do theirs, so everyone can watch the Ferrari launch on the screens in the media centre.
That's good.
Yeah, fair enough. That's fair of Mercedes to do that.
I still say that Formula One should turn around to Autosport and say, right, every year we want we want you to run like an Autosport show, and then at one of the parts of wherever they have.
You mean like the Autosport show that was in Birmingham last week?
Yeah, but it's
but like that, but a Formula One launch event.
yeah. So the main reason for that show is that the main part of the auditorium is broken up into like how Top of the Pops would be, where so every team has a stage.
Yeah.
And then you'd go from last to first in the constructors.
Only if they all get announced by Michael Buffer.
I'll take Buffer. But yeah, it's such a fan friendly thing.
Oh, the back half of the grid gets introduced by Bruce Buffer from UFC.
Yeah.
The slightly lower rent one.
But even this, like I know, we've obviously we hope to go to the Mercedes thing, don't we?
We'd like to go to any. So if any of the teams want to bring us to the launches,
yeah,
I'm sure there's teams listening.
There
Yeah.
are some applications in, but we don't want to give away too much.
Yeah.
Nope.
So, but to me, if let's say just you and I, as normal fans that don't do a podcast, would like to make the journey to Silverstone to go and watch Mercedes do their launch, it should be an option.
Yeah, the only chance fans have got to go is by entering the official Mercedes competition,
Yeah.
where 2 people will get to be at the launch, and everybody else will have to watch it on TV or on YouTube.
Yeah, this isn't something that needs to be kept press only in my eyes.
No, I'm
I agree
100% with
Lee.
you on that.
I
Jesus,
agree
Dan,
with
this
Lee.
is a slippery slope.
Is everybody in agreement with Lee about
Yeah.
this? Yeah, like an actual show, an event, a full day, if you will, where it's you've got like
Well,
Bill.
FOM want to have more of these F1 live events all around the world, like they did in London.
And this would be a perfect excuse for one.
Yeah, have an F1 live launch event.
in Paris. Halfway between where all the teams
I
are
don't
in
know.
the UK. and-
Paris one year, London another year.
Yeah.
It's a motor.
Rome.
It's a motor show as well, so obviously, like, it wouldn't be free to attend. So you're
No,
still
no,
you're
you've
still
gotta pay
paying
to
to
get
go
there.
in.
Yeah, of
So,
course.
Yeah,
But I'd certainly,
and the Autosport shows must be profitable, or otherwise they wouldn't do them. So you can't tell me that sticking 20 new Formula One cars in isn't going to up the attendance.
yeah. And also, you'd be able to gauge the panic on some of the other teams' faces there and then. Like, if Toro Rosso, for example, unleashed something and just like, well, this is within the rules, and then the rest of the teams go, shit, we didn't think about that, did we? Why have they done that? What's that for? Anyway, yes, our car's brilliant. So you'd be able to gauge like atmosphere, because you can at live events gauge atmosphere and sort of the general feeling about things. You can't gauge that over YouTube if you're just watching Lewis Hamilton pull a bedsheet off a car.
You could even stagger it through the day as well, like video game conferences are, where you'll have like sort of Sony at 3:00 and then Microsoft at 5:30 or something like that. So stagger it where you split the grid like 5, 5, 5, 5. So the bottom 5 cars, then on your way up, stagger it through the day so people can then go off. So because otherwise, I suppose it would take an awful long time to unveil.
I think the only problem you'd have
Oh, no.
there would be sponsors. You could probably do one unveiling every half an hour, but then you wouldn't get all the exclusive interviews with all the drivers sat there with all their team gear on and.
No, that's what I mean. That's why you
could.
could stagger it, isn't it? Because
but
that would give you more time.
Yeah, but each team's launch is what, 2 hours usually, so you can't do that over a course of.
No,
a
this
day.
is why Formula One need to bake it into the rules.
Yeah, no,
I
I completely agree with you.
If you want to race in Formula One, you have to have your car ready to go on the stage at this point. This is essentially the beginning of the Formula One season.
Yeah, this is the opening event.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you now get opening ceremonies in other sports.
Yeah, so why not?
So why not have it for Formula One?
Yeah.
Because, in cricket, the Ashes, which goes on for about 6 weeks, has the opening ceremony. There's only bloody 2 teams involved in the whole thing.
I know, yeah.
I think realistically, when you're talking about Formula One as being the pinnacle of motorsport, as we keep referring to it.
Wishing that it was.
Yeah, probably. It does lack some of the pomp and circumstances of like what you think of the pinnacle of sport. Because realistically, for the Formula One Championship should be a World Cup every single year.
Well, what was it? Chase Carey said he wanted 20 Super Bowls around the world.
Yeah.
That's the right attitude.
Yeah,
It
it
is.
is. Because I mean, you look at the US Grand Prix this year, and okay, maybe wasn't to everyone's taste,
But it was-
it was still understated compared to every year's Indy 500.
Well, yeah, and it was Americanized for the American audience. I don't mind that so much. I don't mind if the Russian GP caters more for the Russian viewers. Or,
Yeah,
or
a bit of
does
local
some-
flavour.
Yeah, does-
It's a
but-
good thing.
Yeah, we've seen the grid girls. I know we've had the debate about grid girls in the past, but the grid girls at the Austrian Grand Prix in the
Traditional Austrian milkmaid dresses.
tradition,
And the
maid
Mexican
dresses.
Grand Prix in the
You get the
Day of the Dead.
Luchadors,
yeah, and the mariachi band going around on the drivers' parade lap.
Yeah, absolutely. Like local culture injected into Formula One is a brilliant idea. I think it is anyway.
Yeah, I do. Podium celebrations need sorted out as well, because I think the only Mexico maybe
Podium wang.
podium wang and
Mexico. They tried to do something different, and
Italy,
I
yeah.
wasn't a fan of it.
No, I wasn't a fan of that, but I don't necessarily mean having some sort of gimmick involved. But say like Monza as well. When you think about it, if you're a Formula One driver, let's say you have a career and you do 60 races, yeah?
Yeah.
If you do 60 races and you walk out winning 13 of those, you've had a fantastic career in Formula One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it should, when you look at pictures of people that have won a race, or like the top three, it shouldn't just be like three blokes stood on a step, because that doesn't show the achievement merely winning a Formula One race is. But when you see Daytona with ticket tape everywhere and people standing on top of cars, it looks like they've fucking achieved something, whether you understand what they've done or not.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
when they brought the winning car into the victory circle,
Yeah.
or whatever it was called, there was the whole team there, and everyone was a big part of it. And it was a celebration not just for the three guys that had driven the car during the day. It was for everyone that had been part of that win.
Yeah, do that. Make Formula One make a. I mean, I don't know how you do it, because podiums are sort of set up like permanent structures within Formula One. But let's just say you had a mobile podium that Formula One used or constructed, or the countries that were holding one constructed. I don't think it would cost like a ridiculous sum of money when you consider what holding a Formula One race is. So like they do after qualifying, whether on the drivers, as soon as the race is finished, you fucking stick the podium on the start finish straight, and then have the cars, instead of going directly to Parc Ferme, underneath
The podium.
So your top three drivers have their cars underneath them.
So a lot more like Monaco is.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah, because Monaco works because it's the only one without the usual F1 podium.
Yeah.
Which I think there are two, and they just keep shipping them off around the world.
I mean, you could even, depending on what circuit it is and what the things were, if you could sort some sort of barrier out and only open the track up from in front of the podium, then you could let people in as well. So you've essentially made a mini stage for it to be done in front of people.
Yeah, I mean that's how it works in a lot of races in America.
Yeah.
And I think these things may come in, but I mean, don't forget we're only 1 year into the new generation of F1.
Yeah, which at the moment is what Lee's saying. It's all great. It's wonderful stuff. It makes it more watchable. I think that everything you've mentioned would make it more watchable on TV. However, there's been a bit of a crash down to earth with Formula One's viewing figures this week as well.
I was amazed by this.
Yeah, the viewing figures in the UK alone when Formula One went from free to air to behind Sky to fully free to air. The last year was 2014, was it, or 2015?
Yeah.
And then to Channel 4 only showing a few races.
Free to air, wasn't it 2009?
No.
I thought Button's Championship year was the last year the BBC had. That was free to air.
No, it was
2014?
2013 was the last.
No, was it? All right. Oh well, can't remember.
No, 2012 was when Sky started, I think.
Was it?
Yeah.
And the but yeah, the viewing figures basically have dropped from over 3 million.
Well, this is it's 2016, 390 million viewers worldwide.
Yeah.
2017, 352.3 at the most.
At the most.
Yeah.
And a lot of this is to do with the fact that it's a huge deal in Italy at the moment that Italy have lost their free-to-air Formula One coverage. The same channel has been covering Formula One in Italy since 1953, when Formula One was only 3 years old. And now Formula One in Italy is going behind a paywall, and it's caused a huge uproar in Italy, as you'd expect it to. You know, Italy having quite a long-standing history as a nation, and the various teams that have come and gone through the sport. 99% of them Ferrari fans, anyway. Let's be honest. And it's got far-reaching consequences for everybody involved with Formula One, right back down to the fans at our level.
I do
and
not
the listeners'
see
level.
that.
Because the way Formula One is funding itself at the moment is not by going free to air and getting sponsors in on the tracks. It's by getting people to pay to subscribe to watch it. Now, an awful lot less, a lot fewer people are paying than would watch it on a free to air.
In 2008, there was 600 million F1 viewers worldwide. So in just in the course of
10 years.
10 years,
It's halved.
it's nearly halved.
That's crazy.
There's only one more year of some races being free to air in the UK.
Yeah.
From 2019, there is only the British Grand Prix that'll be free to watch.
Is that wow? So Channel 4 are going to lose the races.
Channel
they've got?
4 are losing the 10 races a season that they've got at the end of this year.
Is that because they don't want it, or is that because of a new deal?
That's because of a new deal that Sky made with Bernie. One of the last deals that Bernie made while he was
How
still
long
in
does
charge.
that run till?
2024.
Now,
Somebody's done this by this, otherwise they're not going to have a sport to
there's
fix.
only the British.
Exactly.
There's only the British Grand Prix being shown because of long-standing UK regulations for broadcasters that there are certain events that must be on free-to-air TV.
one of them being the British
One of them
Grand
being the
Prix.
British Grand Prix.
What's the fucking point in
In
that?
one race.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, how did I describe it in our little private chat on social media? I think I said it's like Liberty have bought a dying dog, said they're going to make it better, and have actually just shot it. Because to me, it's not the way to fix Formula One. You're not going to gain any new viewers if you put the entire thing behind a paywall. You will not gain any new viewers. That number of 300 and however million it is that watch Formula One is going to continue to fall if they continue to banish free to air TV. Now,
And as the numbers drop, then the cost for the Sky TV or
Increases.
whatever TV is going to go up because there's fewer people watching it.
Yeah.
Which is going to put people off watching it.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, at the moment, if you want the Sky Sports F1 channel and you don't subscribe to any of the other Sky Sports channels, you're paying £18 a month.
yeah.
That's a lot to see if you like a sport.
Yeah, would you pay that much for? Oh, I might watch it.
Isn't the cheapest one because you've got to have HD?
Not on the new packages. Sky have rejigged everything again.
Yeah, I thought the last because
Because the rejig sports.
yeah, they've rejigged sports, but I thought the cheapest package you could get Sky, Formula One with, because I don't have the sports channels,
Right.
just have Formula One. It's £50.
A month.
That's because you have to have entertainment. And
No, they've changed it all again.
oh, have they?
Yeah, they changed it all again. You've got to pay for your box to be installed,
Right.
and if you just want the Formula One channel on its own, it's £18.
But
You're on an old contract, that's why they've not changed your pricing.
no, because I'm on Sky Q, aren't I?
Yeah, but that's the only one you get now. But because they haven't changed your deal around, because that's what you signed up to, so you just stay on that.
Oh, right, okay. I'll have to give him a ring tomorrow.
So you can shout at them. Just tell them you can't afford it, and then we'll sell it to you cheaper.
Yeah.
That's what I do every year.
So the newer, bigger audiences that this era of Formula One is looking to build, that they desperately need to and want to build an audience in the United States. I find it very. We've got quite a lot of listeners in the US, and I think I'm right in saying there's not an awful lot of free-to-air TV anyway in the US these days, but you have to be signed up to a cable provider or a satellite TV provider of some description.
And ESPN, by all accounts, is one of the most expensive channels that
Absolutely.
you get.
And they sold the rights to it. This is not the way to do it.
No, they didn't sell the rights to ESPN. They gave the rights to ESPN. They're not paying for it.
No, they're not. And they're only getting it for the world feed. Is that correct?
Yeah, from 5 minutes before the race. But the new F1 digital offering is going to be available in the US. Now, I don't know what they're going to be charging for that.
Again, it's a subscription thing. I don't understand this because people who are trying to get into a sport or who might catch it for the first time are not going to be people who are going to pay to subscribe to something to not watch it. The way to get the way to do this properly, the way to do it correctly, is to go. I can't believe I'm actually going to say this. Is to go back to the way Bernie did things with sponsors. Sponsor this race. Back in the days of it's a Santander British Grand Prix now, but back when it was Foster's sponsor the British Grand Prix. Every barrier you see will have your logo on it. Everything. The bridge will have your name in big letters. It will be the Foster's British Grand Prix.
But towards the end of the Bernie era, look what happened. We now have the official logistics partner, the official beer, the official bank.
Exactly.
So you
UBS.
get all the same sponsors at every track. So it's not attractive for companies that are in competition with the official whatever it is in their industry to sponsor it, because they're going to be getting less screen time than the official partner.
Yeah, but the long and short of this is if audiences keep falling, Formula One gets more expensive, not just for us, but for Formula One.
Yeah.
It becomes more expensive for the teams. It becomes more expensive, and it will just fizzle out. It becomes more expensive to run, more expensive to logistically move everything anywhere because less people are putting money into it.
There is an advantage for the people sponsoring the teams, which is that with people signing up to watch it on pay TV,
They can target their audiences.
they know what kind of audience is watching. They can target what they're doing.
And for any of us in this room that watch it on Sky, be prepared to be absolutely terrified by the advertising this season. Because Sky are now doing micro-targeted adverts. They are sending adverts to specific digiboxes, which are targeted at a certain audience. I found this out when I was watching some tennis a few weeks ago. And there was an advert for the new range of Sony TVs that were just due to come out. And right at the end of the advert, bearing in mind, I am watching this on Sky Sports, so UK and Ireland broadcaster. And at the end of this advert, it said, and you can get your new Sony 2018 model Bravia from Walton's Digital World
I saw that.
in the Isle of Man Business Park. It's like, what the hell is this?
I've noticed that.
Micro-managed
Micro
adverts, yeah.
advertising.
It's
So-
good though.
Yeah, I mean, there was a football match I was watching where,
Yeah.
where during half time there was 3 adverts for the new Five Finger Death Punch album. I thought they are not advertising Five Finger Death Punch to every single Sky Sports viewer and every single football fan.
No.
And I don't know why they're advertising it to me because I really don't like Five Finger Death Punch.
Just having a quick look here. I mean, I don't know. We've got here that like Formula One coverage has an average of 57,000. 50. Yeah.
570,000.
Thank you. That's what I meant to say. That's 100,000 more than Formula E.
Yeah.
That's crazy when you look at that.
And that's on And half of that gets shown on a channel where you've got to work out if you either need new glasses or you're concussed when you're watching it. The
Yeah.
picture quality is that bad.
Formula E is still free to air, and they get these sponsors in, and they get the big thing with Formula E and growing its audience is getting eyes on screens. And they've done it by putting it on free to air TV, not by putting it behind a paywall. You will not get more viewers. You might get a bit more money because the hardcore fans will always pay to subscribe. But it's a short-term model that's not going to last.
I don't watch a lot of television, and I get less and less time to watch television, and less time to play video games. So
The joys of parenthood.
it's just the joys of being older and doing things like this as well. I'm a man of many hobbies, but
Listen to the Patreon show to find out what some of them are.
yeah.
Now who's putting stuff behind a paywall?
And the thing is that the less time I have,
That was the joke.
the less time I have is the more I realise that I've got to be selective about the things I watch, and that's why I watch more series that I want to watch that are on Netflix or something,
Yeah.
rather than just watching random television. And even as a hardcore Formula One fan, I am finding it more and more difficult to pay that fucking Sky bill every month.
It's the justifying it, isn't it? Because if I'm paying that much, I want value for money. And if to get the value for money, I've got to watch as much of it as I can.
Yeah.
But that's stopping me from watching other things because my time is limited.
I can, like, there'll be some weeks, especially in the if there's something on Netflix that I particularly want to watch, there will be months where all I watch is like 2 qualifying sessions and 2 races. It's on television on my Sky.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's-
You don't watch the documentaries, the F1 show,
No.
the chat shows, anything like that.
Not really. I stopped watching the Formula One show ages ago because I think it's fucking rubbish.
So I've just been doing a little bit of googling there. Average UK viewership is about 600,000. Is it for Formula One?
About that.
About 600,000, which is poor. In 1992, it was over 5 million per race.
I mean, we've had this is showing how bad the Formula One viewing figures have got. We don't think we're a particularly big podcast. There are some shows where we've had a tenth of the listening figures that watch Formula One in the UK.
Just
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah. 10% of the listening figures of people who watch Formula One in the UK could be listening to our podcast.
But we know that there's people outside the UK listening to it.
Of course, yeah.
But of course, this makes us niche of a niche.
Niche. Nisho Rosberg.
Niche squared. Lee, you put something up on Twitter earlier about the whole paywall thing.
I did.
Is it killing the sport in certain markets? We've had a couple of tweets in reply. Friday Morning
I
Club,
speak, people listen. It's just a natural order of things.
50% of the time.
All the time.
It works 50% of the time, 100% of the time. Friday Morning Club. I love Sky's F1 product. I'm happy to pay for it. I get more frustrated by the shit race coverage of them not following the developing battle that everyone can see, or worse, focusing on some no-mark celeb while the racing's happening.
He messages me all the time, and he's right bell end.
I don't think that's all
I
Sky's.
agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, I
though.
don't think that's all Sky's fault personally, because I think sometimes the world feed gets a little bit too celeb happy and cuts away from the wrong drivers. It's FOM TV that actually makes the editorial decisions for what gets seen during the race. So please don't put the bloody highlight reel in the middle of it, and please don't put the music on.
Which what where?
No, that's what Formula One were talking about last
Yeah.
week.
Last week we discussed having the highlight reel and the
Yeah.
occasional music, which I'm not a fan of.
I must
let's be
say,
honest.
whoever picks the music for the VT on Sky, before they do the thing, they pick some fucking excellent tracks sometimes.
I did know the guy's name.
He follows us on Twitter.
He follows us on Twitter, and we've had a couple of chats with him.
Oh, has he?
Oh, yeah.
Fucking well, if he's listened to this,
I do know he's
I clocked the Explosions in the Sky song.
Yeah,
Well
yeah.
done, you.
Yeah, he does follow us on Twitter, and I think he has interacted with the podcast on a couple of occasions.
He has.
Let's not name him.
Yeah, cause
Just in case.
and I can't remember his name. But we'll start giving him requests on every show just to see if he can fit something in from our eclectic tastes.
Yeah.
Another reply from Northern Monkey. It's not brain surgery. Less viewers is not a good thing, whichever way you spin it. The most viewed Ashes series in recent times was the last time it was on free-to-air in 2005. Since it went behind a paywall, it has 78% less viewership.
Well, there you go. Northern Monkey just proving my point there by using another sport.
That was taken away from Channel 4 and buggered up by Sky.
Exactly. Get eyes on screens. That's what you need. Eyes on screens. More than anything, nobody's gonna. If you're paying a subscription to watch these races on TV, I believe you are less likely to ever want to attend a live Formula One race because you're already paying to subscribe to the channel. Whereas if you're watching it free, I think might be worth going to watch one of these one day because you haven't got anything invested in it.
Well, I think this is it. The problem is that pay TV is now. I don't know if it's like if we can really call it like an antiquated thing right now, but it's starting to feel very old-fashioned.
Do you know what? I just want to put this out there now.
Do you know what? Do you know why that is? It's because we've done it for years, and that's what everyone does.
No, yeah,
Because you haven't had the choice, and that's why it feels old-fashioned. Because we've been paying for it for when did I first get paid TV? 1993. 25 years.
But the more the more people are working out. I mean, let's face it, right? If Netflix, Microsoft, for anyone that's interested, have just announced that if you do their Game Pass service, which is £10 a month, they are going to give you every single Microsoft Studio game. So that your Halos, that your Forza Motorsports, they will come free with that service for your £10 a month subscription. So if you buy 2 of those games, it's worth doing.
Oh God, I'm on the verge of buying an Xbox.
Oh yeah, you should do. It's fucking great. But the thing is, like, obviously, if Formula One was to do a similar service, I mean, if WWE can do it, surely Formula One can do it. New Japan, if New Japan have New Japan World, that's another $7.99 subscription that goes out. Now, New Japan Wrestling will have a much smaller viewing numbers than Formula One does.
You would expect so.
So you can't. So if these companies are making money out of it this way, you can't tell me that the TV deals are worth more than £10 per customer.
Yeah, otherwise they wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if I was going to say, I want to put this out there. If we have got this completely wrong and there are any actual TV executives who understand why they're going around this way and they want to speak to us about it, feel free to get in touch and we'll put your point of view across. If Sean Bratches is listening, and he probably isn't, he's welcome to come on the show and explain why Formula One is putting Formula One behind a paywall.
Isn't Netflix, didn't they last week become the richest company in the world?
I think the richest company in the world is Google.
I thought it was
It depends which search engine you ask the question, who's the richest company in the world?
So if you ask your Google Home, it'll tell you that.
there was something.
I'm sure if you ask Alex... No.
No.
We're not doing it again this week. Sorry to everyone last week who got caught out with the anti-disestablishmentarianism spelling. We didn't realise that it would actually work. We weren't trying to make it work. It was just a bonus. Just one more tweet on this subject that we got from Nidge B. Must be really hard to attract new and younger viewers who've never had access to the sport. Which
Exactly.
agrees with what we were saying. The same thing happened with MotoGP and cricket, in my opinion.
Yep.
Yes, it did.
MotoGP when it was on BBC for a while.
Yeah.
MotoGP, and it was wonderful. Went to Eurosport. It was okay, fine, fair enough. So I had to have Sky, but is it still on Eurosport now?
No, it's on BT Sports now.
And now it's on BT Sport. Well, there you go. It's behind a double paywall because you got to pay to have Sky, and then you got to pay to the extra subscription for BT Sport.
That's only over here in the UK. You can just get BT Sport if you've got a BT phone.
Yeah, but some people in the UK won't have BT phones either.
If you're in Hull, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Because if you're in Hull, you've got to have Hull Telecom.
Well,
If
there
you're
you
in
go.
Hull, you're in Hull, and you're screwed.
To be honest, yeah, just by dint of being in Hull, you are screwed. I'm allowed to say this. My family
So-
are from there.
Yeah. Anyway, there is my and therefore our formal extension to Sean Bratches or a representative thereof to come on this show and explain why Formula One is doing what they're doing to all of the listeners.
I
But
thought
why is it a good thing for the fans?
Why is it a good thing for the sport and the future of the sport?
and that would be our £2, but we've stuck it behind a paywall, so it's our 12 quid's worth.
You see, you've got to argue it. We often wonder why advertisers don't come into Formula One. You know, why are McLaren struggling to get a sponsorship? Fucking McLaren.
I know.
And then you look at it and you think, oh wow, Look at the fucking global viewing figures.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's obvious. I think how many times have I said in the podcast? It amazes me that Coca-Cola have never sponsored something, or if they have, it's always been a little bitty thing.
Monster Energy is a Coca-Cola company.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But it's always
but they
small
don't
presence.
push their big brand.
Yeah.
No.
Yet you look at IndyCar and NASCAR and you see Coca-Cola logos.
Yeah.
Although that might be down to Coca-Cola's business model in the US. Because the individual bottlers choose to sponsor certain things.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But it's such a massive global brand. You'd think it would just have a presence all over the place, wouldn't you?
If you're going to have a race called the Coca-Cola 500, which
Yeah.
NASCAR does,
You're gonna have to
Yeah.
have Coca-Cola in
Then-
there somewhere. Yeah.
then why wouldn't Coca-Cola sponsor a Formula One race?
See,
Yeah.
advertising works. I really want some Coca-Cola right now.
Yeah, but then you get that horrible fuzzy feeling afterwards.
Yeah, and I have to brush my teeth 20 times to get rid of it.
It's the taste of sugar, chemicals, niceness, and guilt.
It's not worth it.
Lee, you have your laptop open.
I do have my laptop open.
Find some questions.
I've got questions.
You've got questions, Chris?
Yeah, but anyway, before I grab the guitar, I just want to say if anybody else has opinions on this, feel free to get in touch with us through the usual channels, which we'll give you in a bit.
yeah.
Unless you disagree with me, I don't like confrontation.
Yes, you do.
Okay, maybe I do.
Now, this is going to be interesting. Are you going to be using the headphone cable as some kind of capper?
Apparently so. I might need to just stretch that round that way.
That didn't go. Anyone would think you'd never used a guitar with headphones on before.
I haven't. Total shunt, total shunt. Everybody, it's total shunt. Don't switch off. This bit's good. Everybody play along. Look out. Here comes a total shunt.
That's very bassy.
So's your voice.
Oh, yes.
All right, chef.
I was going to say, if this fails, you will get a job as a 3 a.m. DJ. No, it says at 3 a.m., not 3 FM. You can't be a local radio DJ over here. You like music.
Half of our female audience are rocking full-on wide-ons after that.
Right. Ladies,
We ready?
dismount from your loudspeaker and play Total Shunt.
Whoa. I thought I said it bad.
You ever seen the Howard Stern movie?
What?
You ever seen the Howard Stern?
No, because it's got Howard Stern in it.
Well, if you ignore the Howard Stern fact, then again, there's no movie left. It's quite cool.
Total
It's got-
shunt.
I was born in 1923.
1923.
I am guessing it's someone who's not with us anymore.
Yes, probably. Or something.
Or something.
Could be a
Could be a thing that's-
manufacturer, or
Could be something that's still with us.
It could be Paul.
could be something like Avon Type. No, he was on a train in 1924. Could have been.
So does that mean a day later it would have been Shane McMahon?
Can I just ask a question? How old is Murray Walker?
about that old.
I served in the army.
I think Murray Walker was RAF, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he was
Not
RAF,
Army.
possibly.
Darn.
Oh, wouldn't you just love it if he'd have been air traffic control? Biggin Hill, permission to land, please. Well,
Go, go, go!
Don't believe it! It's Flight 501. He's landed.
Sorry, Murray, this isn't working out. Hang on.
Okay, and a third clue, please, Lee.
I first became involved in motorsport in 1948.
Okay, 1948. To this particular. Well,
So that'd be at age 25.
yeah. Murray Walker did race motorcycles because his father raced motorcycles.
And
over here.
And he
yeah.
commentated on them as well.
Does anybody remember? Was it the centenary year that Murray Walker did the commentary of the motorcycles leaving
Yes.
the grandstand here? It was wonderful. I turned my radio up so loud, and just sat there, just closed my eyes and just took it all in. Murray Walker talking while there were loud engines going on, and he knew everything about every motorcycle that was going. So are we putting that down for our first guess?
I think we should.
Do you know,
Yeah.
this is definitely isn't a dislike by any stretch of imagination, but I never liked Murray Walker as a commentator. I always.
So it's not a dislike, but you didn't like it.
No. It's like what I mean is I don't want to say I don't fucking like Murray Walker because I'm sure he's a perfectly nice man.
Yeah.
But
But then you don't like Davide Valsecchi either, do
this
you?
is true. But
And they're both very similar to me. They're excitable and they love the sport,
well,
and
you see,
it shines through.
I despise happiness. But
This is why you like snooker so much. Because all the snooker commentators sound like Eeyore.
there was just
And,
too many mistakes for my liking. I hate Murrayisms. Like I don't find them funny. I think it's bad commentary. Right, where am I? I worked with my father until his death.
It's Murray.
Yeah? I worked with my father until his death.
I'm pretty sure he did, yeah.
Okay.
Because didn't he take over from his father as commentator after his death, as lead commentator?
Yeah, but we was all Murray Walker was also something big in the world of advertising. Because don't forget, he came up with the advertising slogans. What was it? Fresh cream cakes, naughty but nice, and Trill makes budgies bounce with health.
Really?
Yes. There is
Is that your next clue?
There is an urban legend that he created the a miles a day makes you work, rest and play, but he's denied that.
I just want to know exactly why it's healthy for a budgie to bounce. I would have thought a budgie bounced once.
Yeah, it should fly, really.
Most animals don't bounce. Kangaroos bounce.
Yeah.
Tigers bounce.
Tigers do bounce.
And that's a wonderful thing.
I've been involved in multiple disciplines of motorsport.
Like cars and motorbikes.
Yeah.
My first full season of Formula One wasn't until 1978.
When the BBC got the rights to the full season, because it used to be split on various channels and some races weren't shown at all.
I'm just going to keep going here.
Because they used local commentary teams until then. You watch the Portuguese Grand Prix, quite often you would have the Portuguese Grand Prix Portuguese commentary going on underneath the English commentary.
They'd have somebody talking over the top of it. Like Andy Marriott, who was the pit lane reporter in the Daytona 24 over the weekend.
Yes.
I own a brick from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Because they get given to legendary people connected with motorsport, like what Murray Walker is.
I have the Star of Birmingham. What? Hang on.
Read the clue.
A star on the Birmingham
Sorry.
Walk of Fame.
I have a star on the Birmingham Walk of Fame. That's because I didn't know there was a Birmingham Walk of Fame.
That's because it's not famous.
That doesn't sound it, does it?
Right between Jasper Carrot and the Electric Light Orchestra.
My voice is probably better known than my face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have been teamed with the likes of James Hunt, Jonathan Palmer, Alan Jones, Jackie Stewart, and Martin Brundle.
Dan, you got it first. You asked the question.
Are you Murray Walker?
No. Yes.
That was great. Who sent that one in?
That was Ben Johnson.
Oh, thank you,
Thank
Ben.
you, Ben.
Nice one,
Yeah.
Ben.
Legendary commentator Murray Walker. I grew up with him, telling me about the sport. I didn't know anything about Formula One when I was, 5 when I started watching it. And he taught me everything I knew, including how to poke people's heads when they've just knocked them very badly.
I still think the best Formula One commentary team is Crofty and Anthony Davidson. I think
They're very good together.
they're the best.
I liked it when, and I'm really sorry if Martin Brundle ever hears of this, but I liked it when Martin Brundle was ill and De Resta stepped in for him.
Yeah.
You didn't like the bit about him being ill. You just liked the bit about Paul di Resta.
Yeah, and then De Resta had to go and jump in the car, so there was different commentators. That was Anthony Davidson then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the one where Martin Brundle was sick and Anthony Davidson stepped in for him when Jenson Button won his first race in Hungary.
That was Hungary again as well, wasn't it, last year?
As Button crossed the line, Anthony Davidson was getting rather excited because he was still part of the team at that point as a reserve driver, and he started saying, "I'm so happy. Nobody else deserves this more than Jenson. My word, Martin, what have you done?"
Yes. Yes, I do remember that was his. That was his words as Jenson Button was slowing down towards turn 1.
Right, Formula Lee.
Oh, it's finished.
Yes, we have had the fourth race of the Winter Series. It was...
Lee is making you guys work really hard for this prize.
It's funny I'm not entering any at the minute.
Yeah. This one was Monaco in the wet in the 2006 Renault R26.
Yeah. It was hard.
The Alonso one. It's all right. I know what this one's going to be. I'm well ahead of you. I know what the next race is going to be.
I don't.
No, I do. So you just back off.
No, it's my game. You can fuck off. I'll choose.
It's not called Formula Paul.
No.
We're staging a coup. Variety of times. Let's have a look. We had a total of 35 entries. Just 2 from this room.
Me and...
Me.
Oh, okay.
Chris, you came second.
That's fine. As I said, I only had I think 2 goes. It was very difficult. Found it very difficult.
2 goes more than I did.
Yeah.
Were you a DNS as well?
I was a DNS.
Dan was a DNS. Lee was a DNS. Chris, your time of 1:29.421 was good enough for 28th.
Fair enough. I'm surprised it was not quicker than that.
Yeah.
I'm sure I could have gone, but
My time of 1:28.085 was actually good enough for 19th. I've scored points again.
Oh, well done.
To be honest, yeah, actually do what you want with the Winter Series. I'm liking this. I'm in the points these days. These are my best performances.
Your insubordination has been noted.
No, bugger. Right, quick rundown of the point scorers. 20th, we've got Jordan Holmes. I was 19th. Ruben Hernandez in 18th. Ben Roguska from Alaska
no, welcome.
was 17th. I think we now have listeners in all 50 states.
Hey, that's a challenge.
And
isn't it?
and in other surprising news, they have internet in Alaska. I thought they just had polar bears.
No, they've had internet. We live in the Isle of Man. They've had Alaska. I would say are well more technologically advanced than we are. They just have snow. That's it.
We don't. Right, what else have we got? 16th was Patrick Walter Thompson. 15th, Caleb Hurley. 14th, Lee Webster. 13th, Ollie Vestley. I think he's found a new game.
Oh wow. Okay, so Ollie, my favourite Norwegian, usually at the top of the board.
Usually at the top, doesn't quite get into the top 10 this week. Chris Rowden in 12th, Max Williams in 11th. Top 10, Pete Bull in 10th place. Paul Goodall in 9th. Bradley Chambers in 8th, or Brodley as he's changed his name to on Twitter. That got very confusing. Vaitje Camping from South Africa in 7th.
Invite you camping when you have a house.
You crack that joke every time he scores points.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. You're giving him his own jingle. Zach, I'm going to say Wasson. If it's Vasson, let us know. In 6th. Jeff Sharp, 5th place.
Well done, Jeff. Still keeping your foot in there.
Yeah. Travis Parker in 4th. Top 3. Double racing driver.
Blink 182's drummer.
Double racing driver Ayrton Antonucci in 3rd. 1:24.266.
Good effort, Ayrton.
Someone that actually would have been 4th, just want to give a special mention to, with a time of 1:24.298, but it doesn't count, is Louis Shaw, who emailed this afternoon saying, I don't have F1 2018, but I've got F1 2006, so here's Alonso's car doing a time in the extreme wet.
Oh wow,
Good effort.
that's a great effort.
So that would have actually put you 4th on the leaderboard.
Retro gaming, well done. But it doesn't count, so out you go.
Second place was Ian Beeraz with 1:24.032, and we have, I think, our first repeat winner of the Winter Series.
Ooh.
Will Coates. Let us have your email address and we can send you the bloody Amazon voucher.
Yeah,
1:23.178.
that's a great effort. Well done, Will. That's fantastic. And of course, if you heard your name getting read out in the top 20 there, you scored points, which you can also check on our website, 3legs4wheels.com. Then you are in the draw for the Nico Rosberg replica helmet.
Yes, everyone that scores points gets, every point scoring finish gets one entry in the draw,
Yep. So
except for any of us 4.
no, we don't get. So Paul, sorry, you might have got points, but it's actually a pointless point.
But in this case, it's not points make prizes, it's points make pride.
Well, okay, fine. If you don't do that, so yeah. Thanks to our friends at cmhelmets.com for the Nico Rosberg helmet. If you want to go and check out their website, they have tons of replica helmets from lots of drivers over the years, Formula One, IndyCar, and a couple of other sports as well.
I think there's some MotoGP ones in there.
Yeah. So go and check out their collection of helmets, and if you've got a few spare dollars or pounds or whatever your currency is, maybe splash out and get yourself a lovely replica helmet. Why not?
Yeah, we've got a link on the Formula League page on the website. So we need another race.
Well, shall I tell you what we were going to do first?
What were we going to do
Well,
first?
before you opened your big fucking trap, we were going to have. we were going to have a 2004 Ferrari
Yeah.
going around Texas in the dry, because I thought
That was nearly what I wanted for the next race.
Because I thought with the Ferrari connection, there's an Alonso connection. Daytona's just been, so we've got an American connection.
Yeah.
But now we're having the 1995 Ferrari because it's the closest thing to a dog of a car, and we're going to do it around Singapore in the wet. So if anybody would like to tweet Paul and tell him what they think of his wise
Insubordination.
ideas, then that would be great.
So there you go. It's 1995.
The more abuse Paul gets over the next week or the next 2 weeks while this competition is running, is the more likely they are to get a dry race with a good car.
Right, I just want to say the closing date for this is 10 minutes ago, so find a new one. It's going to be Monday, February the 12th, 7 o'clock UK time, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You can get the times in with screenshots with the times to the usual places. You can tweet us at 3 Legs 4 Wheels, send a direct message for Formula Lee entries. And good luck and sorry, and don't abuse me too much.
Do it.
I'm sensitive at heart.
Yeah, do it. If he doesn't cry, it's wet again next time.
I'm crying now. Does that help?
Tears from Paul or tears on the track, it's up to you.
So the 1995 Ferrari in Singapore in the wet. You're a git.
I know.
At least you admit it. Right, if you do want to get in touch with us, as I say, tweet us on at 3 Legs 4 Wheels or
At Flood21.
At Danbert.
As always, I'm a total shunt.
no misspellings, please, until you start writing the message. And I'm at Pablo100. You can get us on Facebook, facebook.com/3 Legs 4 Wheels. Email, I've said the email. We're on Instagram, as a lot of people have been noticing this week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because my phone keeps bleeping every time we get a like on one of the posts.
Well, you need to turn your notifications off, Paul.
I think I probably do need to.
Just in case people didn't catch the email.
It was 3legs4wheels@gmail.com. Did
There
I
you
say
go.
that?
Yeah, just in case they didn't.
Yeah,
know.
I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember or not. I'm sleep deprived. And if you want the extra show that we do every week with non-Formula One related stuff, I would say what's on this week's, but this is a family show, and I don't think I can. If you go to patreon.com/3legs4wheels, you can sign up there. You can subscribe to our Patreon donations page for as little as $1 a month. Everything that you send us goes towards putting this podcast together, paying hosting costs, and buying all the vital equipment that we need.
Yeah, because of you guys, we managed to keep this thing running. So thank you very much.
Yes. That's about it for this week.
It is, and I just want to extend that invitation one more time to Sean Bratches or anybody who knows him to get in touch with him to come on this show and explain to the fans what he's doing with the sport. There you go.
That should be interesting. Right, we'll be back next week with whatever happens in between now and this time next Monday night.
Which could be not very much, could be a whole load of stuff.
It could be all filler, no killer.
But the one after that, we should have launches, shouldn't we? We should have at least a launch.
Launches are coming soon.
Launches are coming in
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks,
3
yes.
weeks. We've only got to sort of bluff it out for another couple of weeks
Right,
or so.
okay, cool.
So we'll see what we can do.
The long wait's nearly over.
only 3 more weeks, and then we can talk about artificial renders of cars.
Yes. I like this drawing. This was sent in by George, aged 3. He's in the Toro Rosso Young Driver program.
He's just been fired for being too old. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.